because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this.
So that is Stephen Colbert on Monday night playing the rebel against CBS. But I mean, The Late Show is not live. So if his CBS bosses really had a problem with what he said on air, they wouldn't have aired it on Monday night. And also, too, he admits later on that he consulted with the lawyers before that segment.
They know damn well that every word of my script last night was approved by CBS's lawyers, who, for the record, approve every script that goes on the air.
Stephen isn't going out on a limb here in any kind of way.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast.
Yeah, so there were concerns over the equal time rule, which means that if you have one candidate on who's running in a election, you have to have the other candidates on as well, give them equal airtime, which I think is a very appropriate rule to have. And we saw that rule enforced when Kamala Harris was on Saturday Night Live the weekend before the 2024 presidential election. And then, NBC gave Trump time, I think during a NASCAR event the next day. Now, late night had been exempted from this rule of having to give equal airtime to people.
At this point, he's just released a letter that says he's thinking about doing away with the exception for late night. He hasn't done away with it yet, but my network is unilaterally enforcing it as if he had.
Now, Stephen thinks that CBS was acting out of fear in terms of approaching him about this James interview, because when James was on The View on February 2nd, on February 7th, the FCC opened a probe into The View over this equal time rule. So CBS would like to avoid that. So Stephen decided on a solution.
I am going to interview James Talarico tonight, but it's not going to be on The Late Show. It's going to be on The Late Show's YouTube page.
Yeah, so the interview with James happened, and it's gotten a lot of views on the YouTube page. It has about 5.5 million views in about 36 hours. And to put that number into context, Colbert's interviews usually get around like 200,000 or so views in the first 24 hours. So, it's doing very well.
You're
Lovely to see you.
a little revved up tonight. I'm very happy to be here.
Now, Tuesday morning, CBS issued a statement that contradicted what Colbert said on air Monday night. The Late Show is not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with Representative James Talarico. The show has provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for two other candidates, including Representative Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for the other candidates could be fulfilled. It was The Late Show itself that decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel with on-air promotion on the broadcast, rather than potentially providing the equal time options. So Colbert had a response to that last night.
Told me unilaterally that I had to abide by the equal time rules, something I have never been asked to do for an interview in the 21 years of this job.
Yeah, abide by the equal time rule. Notice that Colbert didn't say this time around that he blocked the interview. No. So you have to follow the equal time rule, which have meant that if you put James on broadcast, you would have to have then Jasmine Crockett on as well. And this doesn't have to be the same day. No, it doesn't have to be the same day. This isn't like a debate stage. No. So you have to have the candidates on in the run-up to the election, on separate days at some point.
Between the monologue I did last night and before I did the second act talking about this issue, I had to go backstage. I got called backstage to get more notes from these lawyers, something that had never, ever happened before. And they told us the language they wanted me to use to describe that equal time exception. And I used that language.
But The Late Show Colbert decided that they didn't want to have that obligation to Jasmine. So they found this loophole that they could just put the interview on YouTube because streaming isn't under the same equal time rule. They don't have to follow it.
I don't know what this is about.
I know what that statement is about. The CBS statement is really a statement to Jasmine, really, to point out that, hey, we didn't connive to you'll screw you out of screen time on the Late Show. We did not make that decision. The Late Show and Colbert made that decision.
I am well aware that we can book other guests. I didn't need to be presented with that option. I've had Jasmine Crockett on my show twice.
He has, in October 2024 and then in May 2025, but not during her race for the Democratic primary for the Texas Senate seat. So you have to have them on when they're actually running in the election. Now, Jasmine was on MS Now last night, and she revealed that she got a phone call from the FCC Tuesday morning.
And in that call, they explained that they actually told CBS that they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Talarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. I did not get a request from the Colbert Show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great.
Yeah, what this comes out as, Stephen, is you found a loophole to still do the James interview, and yeah, it gets a big audience, and you got out of having to give that same platform to Jasmine. That looks pretty shitty of you, Stephen.
So there were a number of options that could be put on the table. And frankly, the Late Show decided that this was the option. It probably gave my opponent the boost he was looking for.
And I think it's an appropriate optic to acknowledge in this situation. But I mean, yeah, you found a loophole to not give the same or equal time to the black female candidate that you gave to the white male candidate, Stephen. Okay.
I'm just so surprised that this giant global corporation would not stand up to these bullies. Come on.
Yeah, Colbert's saying that, this is CBS bending to the knee of Trump, and this is being pushed by Trump. What does Trump care about this? This is the Democratic primary. This isn't a Democratic candidate getting screen time over a Republican candidate. No, this is a Democratic face-off. Yeah, he doesn't care about this.
FCC opening probe into The View after appearance by Talarico.
I think that Donald Trump is worried that we're about to flip Texas.
The View probe was not started by Trump or any Republican. No.
Supposedly, this FCC complaint came about because I had more time than Mr. Talarico when I went on there after I declared my candidacy.
So started by James Talarico's team. Colbert, I don't know how you don't see the situation that you're screwing over Jasmine Crockett in this situation. Being really unfair to her. Anyways, what are your thoughts?
I don't even know what to do with this crap. Oh, hold on.